my audio okay, Brent? I can't remember if you actually checked it or not.
Give me one more test.
That's okay. Just
I thought you
testing.
I thought you were going to do that crash test dummy song.
I don't think I know that.
There was this girl who wouldn't go and change with the girls in the change room. When they finally made her, they saw birthmarks all over her body. She couldn't quite explain it.
Do you really not know this one?
Been there.
Hello and welcome to the Games That Made Us podcast. I'm Brent. I'm joined as always by my good friend Kirk. Say hi, Kirk.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
And we're joined as always by our good friend Benny. Say hi, Benny.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all. Actually, this episode's going to come out after Christmas, so happy New Year's. And
that's true. Yeah.
I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Or I had you. I had you. I had you. I hope you had you. I hope. Good things. I hope good things for you, our listener.
Did you Christmas good?
Yep. To all of our fan, we don't know your denominations, so Joyous Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Robanica, Festivus for the rest of us, all of that.
I personally celebrate Saturnalia.
There you go.
There.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's, lots of wine and tits. It's great. Mostly they're my tits, but that's, that is what it is.
I mean,
You bring a party with you wherever you go, Brent.
It's true. It's true. So starting off strong as per usual. I've had no breakfast, but I have had some cider, so strap in, everybody.
Well, we'll talk about it. What are you drinking? What cider?
Yes. So our good friend Benny brought a Brick River Cider Co. gluten-free hard apple cider with pumpkin spice.
I think that's like the softest thing you've said in the entirety of this podcast.
Beverage.
It also sounded like the title of 2024's most popular anime. It's like way too many words.
Gluten-free Brick River.
So I can backfill the story behind that cider a little bit. It's good.
You can backfill me anytime.
Been there, filled that.
Oh, no.
Strong start.
Strong start.
So I was
Glazed
at the
donut.
store back in October, looking for a cider from my wife likes just normal like apple cider.
Yeah.
There's a really good one, actually, fairly close to where you live in Louisville. Or Lewisburg. Jesus.
Yeah.
Lewisburg Cider Mill is very good. Mm-hmm. It's not that close to you, but close enough. Mm-hmm. And in the area, it's really accessible during the holidays, but it sells out really quick. And so I was at Hy-Vee. They had none of the kind she likes.
Yeah.
And so I saw this thinking, oh, that looks kind of interesting. Maybe it's like pumpkin spice cider. That sounds good.
No.
It was in like the produce section at the store. So I grabbed it thinking, this will be fine for her. Like maybe this will be fun. She's not a big drinker in the first place, and she does not like hard ciders very much at all.
Yeah.
So I popped one open and was like, oh, she's going to hate this. And thinking, I'll give it a shot. But as always happens with me, and I don't know why, I have kind of an intolerance for cider. I don't know if it's like the champagne yeast or the kind of similar kind of yeast, or if it's all the sugar or what, but cider does not agree with me. So now Brent is the inheritor, and Kirk, you can have one too. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
You're right. For me, like I can only drink like one in an afternoon. It's the sugar. For me, it's the sugar. Like as delicious and boozy as they usually are, I don't like drinking something and then my teeth hurt immediately afterwards.
Well, that's part of the reason why I make so many ciders is when you make it, you can decide on the level of residual sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the level of residual sugar that I choose for my beverages is 0.
Yeah.
And so my cider is very dry.
Yeah. But also crisp. Give it some fair. Yeah, it's fair. It's dry, but it's crisp. Like it's worth it. But,
I love a good cider.
Yeah.
Flavor wise, and it's not even the sugar that bothers me on the palate. It literally
It's
like
afterwards.
I have some sort of intolerance. Like it turns me into a dude fountain. Like, I can't handle it.
I just get really bad headaches after drinking any heavily sugared alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, we're just older and we can't process fucking sugar like our kids can.
Dude, I remember like in college, I used to pop like a Malibu and mix it 50-50 with sugar Sprite and sit and drink that. And I look back now and I'm like, how? How did I not just immediately hurl everywhere?
Yeah. How did you not immediately get diabetes?
Right.
So here's as an example. So Strongbow, I like Strongbow.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's way sweeter than anything that you generally make, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like touted as a dry cider. Like it's even on the label. It's a London dry cider.
Yeah.
Twice in college, I threw up a 4-pack in the I almost said the fridge. Definitely in the shower. I threw up a 4-pack in the shower twice. So something about it just does not agree with me. Sorry, I keep talking about throwing up cider.
No, that's fine.
It's very funny.
The idea of somebody, this has definitely happened. We're not creating a new scenario that hasn't happened, but just the idea of somebody like opening up the fridge to get a beer, vomiting in it, and then closing it again. It's like,
saving it for later.
It's like, well, I'm going to a new party. It's like I had a friend of mine who he wound up going to Mizzou. So you guys don't, maybe in passing met him, but he came back up one time to hang out with me, and we went to and we just got absolutely destroyed, and nobody that we knew was having anybody over that night. But we were like, if we just wander around, we'll find something. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, there was this chick outside smoking a cigarette, and she's like, "Hey, do you guys want to come on in?" And we were like, "Yeah, fuck yeah!" So we go in and we're hanging out, and my buddy's over in the corner, and he's got his arm around this girl, and they're talking and drinking, and and I walk over to the fridge, and I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, I forget exactly what he said, but I'm like, oh shit, they're all in high school. That's why I don't know any of these kids. And like, I turn around and I'm like running across the party to get my buddy. I'm like, they're all in high school. Get the fuck out. Oh, yeah.
It's all over, man. It's all over.
Wait, let me get your digits, and then I'm out of here.
Right? Actually, a girl didn't give me her number that time, and then I found out that and she was 18. Sorry, this is getting cut.
No,
but I found out that her boyfriend, she had a boyfriend. He was in the Marines, and he was in Iraq, and I was just like, no, this is not a thing that's happening. I'm not that dumb.
Yeah.
Like, on my fucking bingo card of things that I want to have happen, piss off a Marine who's just returning from war.
Yeah.
This would be a very different podcast where Kirk and I would go, "Hey, do you remember Brent?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that motherfucker.
Yeah, he disappeared rather quickly.
You remember when we found his severed head? And only his severed head? Yeah. Well, anyway. So yeah, I'm drinking this cider. Kirk, what do you got over there?
I also have a cider, and of course, I only brought one because, like I was explaining, I can really only drink one.
Right.
This one is from Cider Corp. That friend of ours who travels a lot.
Yeah.
Recently went all the way out to Arizona. He always brings shit back for me. So he brought back this delightful cider. It's like a pineapple cranberry something or other, but it's really, really good. And I looked up the company that makes it. It's a lot like owned by a lot of like veterans and stuff, which is really cool. Nice. Then also the friend that brought it. It's his birthday very, very soon. So I just wanted to, if you're listening, wish you a very, very happy birthday. I love you. I couldn't ask for a better friend. You deserve nothing but peace and love in your life, and I hope to see you soon for your birthday party.
Hell yeah. Yes.
I'm going to tickle you until you have no peace and love in your life.
I would say something sweet, but at this point it feels like I need to just say fuck you because I don't know. Like I feel like we have to have a variety of responses.
Yeah.
Actually, I do love him. He brought me back a green chili ale from a brewery in Arizona. And I should have brought. I just looked over at Brent and went fuck because I forgot to bring one. I should have brought one to.
Did it warm your cold, dead New Mexican heart?
I mean, it can try. I've actually had it before. He brought me one 2 or 3 years ago when he went down there. And so they brought one back again, and I was really stoked because it was really good.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Benny, do you want to tell us about what you're drinking?
I am drinking.
It's always a big beard.
It
At
is.
this point, like I go looking for them. See, yeah.
I don't live in that bad a neighborhood. You don't have to buy a self-defense device.
Hey, I did not buy a Twisted Tea.
That's true. Yes.
This is a Space Camper Quantum Hop IPA, so it's like the Imperial IPA version of Space Camper.
I love Space Camper.
Yeah,
So
Space Camper's dope.
This is gonna do a little bit of work towards putting me on my ass.
Sweet.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking at it. Doesn't it?
it's-
What is it?
It's 19.2 fluid ounces, so it is a big boy.
I thought he
And
was going to
it's-
say 19%. I was like,
Yeah,
fuck.
fuck,
Abort!
no.
Get out! Get out now!
It's gonna be a
It's just-
quick episode.
It's just printer toner. Get out!
We're
No.
20 minutes in, and Benny's just drooling in the corner.
Has instructions on the can on how to clean wounds.
It says keep away from paint. Like,
I dropped a
it's-
rusty nail in it. It's clean now.
It's only 9.5% alcohol.
Okay.
So it'll only wreck my liver, not the rest of me.
Okay, good deal, good deal. All right, so,
But it's delicious and potent.
I mean, that's what
IPA.
people say about me. I'm going to really let that silence just kind of marinate.
Yeah, if you want to let that sit for a couple extra seconds on the recording, that'd be really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, I've already given you plenty of Christmas gifts this year. That was not going to be one of them.
Fair.
I would no.
All right,
You stew in your mess.
So we are celebrating our 1 year of this fucking podcast. Oh, I wanted to announce. So I redid the numbers. We have had 2,263 listens this year, which I'm very pleased with. That's fucking actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So most of it on YouTube. I think Spotify was second, and then Libsyn, and I don't know. We might have tens of millions on Apple, but I'll never know because I don't have an Apple account. So
Good man.
yeah. It's not on any principle or anything. They're just like, you have to have an Apple account, and to have an Apple account, you have to have an Apple device. I'm like, no, I won't be doing that.
Kirk and I are such Puritans about this shit, and we like have little kids, and like they'd grow up and be like proper adults, and then we'd find out that they had Apple accounts, and we'd be like, I thought I raised you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why.
Since when?
Yeah. This is why they should bring hitting back.
What's the worst Justin Timberlake song ever?
Jesus. This wasn't a Chris Brown song. Oh, man. I actually feel bad. Domestic violence isn't that funny, Brent.
Sorry, it was just the turn. That was so good. Okay. But so we're celebrating.
I got on you for me making the joke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should feel bad about yourself for enjoying the joke that I made, Brent. Like, okay, sure, why not? But yeah, so we're celebrating a year of podcasting, and we're flipping the calendar over to 2025, and we thought, well, I credit where credit is due. Benny thought that it would be cool to do an episode on games that we're looking forward to in 2025. So let's start with some honorable mentions. And since, it was Benny's idea, let's start with him. Let's force him to talk.
Fair enough. I mean, you guys barely tolerate me as it is, but while I've got your rapt attention,
I have the mic, and no one can take it away from me.
come fight me. Full disclosure, I guess I am a AAA whore over here.
Oh, no.
Like Like, I
One day you'll get promoted to the majors.
well, I run across the indie games as they kind of occur to me, and I play.
Yeah.
So, like, if we were talking about like top games of this year, and we talked about maybe touching on that topic,
Yeah.
like Graveyard Keeper might be one that I'd touch on, but like I kind of stumbled across it
Sure.
on sale, and so it's not one that was on my radar. So I kind of end up coming across indie titles more incidentally,
Yeah.
but like in terms of like the games that I look forward to, because they tend to be series that have been around for a while
Sure.
after a certain point, or maybe I'm just a what's the word, shill. So anyway, some of the ones that I'm looking forward to, but that are just going to be honorable mentions would be like
Honorable mentions.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah.
GTA is fun. I don't always like what Rockstar does, but they tend to be a little bit better about some of the online play and some of the microtransaction-y bullshit than some other companies can be, although they also do some. I mean, they're huge and they do some shitty things, but their games are fun.
They're not as bad as like COD or some of those other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 earlier this year because I had never finished it, so I went back and played that, and still a beautiful game. Mm-hmm. Another honorable mention would be the Fable remake or the new Fable game.
Yes,
I figured Kirk was going to be
list.
excited about that. Mm-hmm. That's one. I also like the Assassin's Creed series. Again, I know I'm a AAA slut, but they're fun games for the most part. There's some problems with some of them.
You don't have to.
I know. I feel.
apologizing.
I know. I'm apologizing, but also like I feel like some of the spirit of this podcast dovetails better with indie
Nice.
titles. In some ways, indie games tend to preserve the spirit of a lot of the games that we're visiting in our episodes. So in a way, I think there's a closeness with the indie industry.
Sure.
So that's kind of why I bring that up. But some of these games are very well made. I like Assassin's Creed, and Assassin's Creed Shadows looks pretty cool. And it's also upsetting all the internet incels. So that makes me
always,
makes me laugh.
always good bonus
Yeah.
information. Yeah.
Outer Worlds 2.
Okay.
That's a kind of open world first person shooter RPG title, and the first one was pretty cool. And then the last thing on my honorable mentions list is just my abysmal backlog of games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially with the Steam winter sale going on. Holy shit.
I was good.
I got so many games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have not really partaken.
This winter sale kind of fixed what the fall sale kind of
Yeah.
lacked for me. Like,
Fall sale sucked.
yeah. Like, a lot of games I had on my wish list had sales, don't get me wrong, but they weren't, like, deep enough cuts for me to give a shit. Like, 20% off of a $25 game is a $20 game. Like,
right.
talk to me when it's 50%, motherfuckers. Like, I wish I could change my notifications where if it's not 50% or more, I don't care.
A couple of years ago, they Steam and Epic had sales where they were dropping stuff like regularly 75 to 90%.
Yeah.
I got Death Stranding for free a few years ago on Epic.
Yeah. Well, Epic. I don't know. Do they still do the free games? I'm
not sure.
I don't engage with them anymore. I'm down to just Steam and GOG.
I have not bought a game on Epic for probably 2 years.
Yeah. Part of it is in the back of my head. I keep thinking I'm going to get a Steam Deck, and I'm I'm focusing everything on Steam so I can just pick that motherfucker up and hit install and be done.
One thing that I've always hated about Epic in particular is they were trying to get their hooks into exclusives so hard for a while.
Yep.
And for all I know, they still are. But that's such a shitty. The console exclusive thing should have died when Steam and PC gaming really kind of saw its resurgence, and I don't know why it hasn't.
Yeah.
Corporate greed, anyone. But
Yeah.
so I have to admit that I got a couple of exclusives, and then I've kind of just decided to bail out at this point.
Borderlands was the big one that really chat my ass that Epic kind of stole from Steam for a while, and then it did warm my grinchy heart when I would see, the Borderlands that have like sales figures when it were released, and like a year went by on Epic, and then it gets released on Steam, and you see like tens of thousands of concurrent players, if not hundreds of thousands of players, and just sales numbers through the roof. It's like Epic, if you make a good product, they will just come to you.
Yep.
That's all, like, just make a better product. That's it.
Yeah, their launcher is just terrible.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the thing that I've said it before. It's not like Valve is perfect in any way, but they're just the one major video game company that hasn't done anything that's just malicious and evil in a while. They're just normal corporate assholes.
Hey, did you guys know that Valve released Steam?
No, fuck you. We're moving. No, we're done with that. We're all done with that. I had a point. What was it? Oh,
I'm sorry.
It's the Gabe Newell thing. It's like, it's piracy is a service issue. It's like the reason Steam is so huge is because they're one of the few that has kind of like, I like GOG. I like GOG for what they stand for, but it is an objectively worse buying experience than Steam is.
It's clunky. I wouldn't say bad. It's clunky.
Yeah. No, and I don't say bad either. It's just it's worse than Steam.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they would fix some of the problems that they have, but one good service that they attempt to provide that they don't always succeed at providing is patching and support for very old games on new platforms.
Yep.
Which is a laudable attempt or approach that they're taking. I really like that they want to offer that service, but I have a couple games that, even though they're ostensibly patched to like Windows 10, Windows 11 kernel, just do not function properly. And I think like I said, I don't know how they fix that, because the realistic answer is hire enough people that you have engineers or technicians to shim them up to modern standards. But that's a lot of work, and that's expensive. So I don't know what the answer is really.
Or like certify community fixes. Like if enough people are just like, this just needs to be part of it.
Well, and one of the things is like that I found frustrating with GOG recently is that they released a program called Good Old Games, where they certify certain games as like working on modern systems, and I'm like, that's what all of your games are supposed to be, and that's what you launched as. So now if you go look in the GOG shop, they have a little sticker next to games that says, "This is a good old game," and it's like, that's what GOG stands for. That's what all your games are supposed to be. Like, you're just doing the same thing again. And then, like, in 5 years, you're going to be like, this is a good old game. You're just reducing the percentage of their library that they're actually supporting.
I was going to say, you're basically attesting to the fact that not all of your games are going to run.
Exactly.
You're selling things that are not functional and saying, good luck.
Yeah, and that's frustrating. But that's not my only problem with CD Projekt Red. Put a pin in that.
Wait, is that CD Projekt Red that owns GOG?
GOG is CD Projekt. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
Yeah. Kirklestein, you got any honorable mentions? Honorable mentions.
Yep. My list is pretty short because I have such a big backlog, and like I kind of alluded to with the winter sale, I bought so many fucking games.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to playing, is the shit that I didn't buy when it originally came out in 2024. Those are the games I'm looking forward to playing in 2025. For example, RoboCop Rogue City. That was only $20.
That looked really good.
Yeah.
It looked better than the last movie.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they set the bar really high, didn't they?
Yeah.
I finally got around to buying Signalis. I've been watching other people play it a lot.
It's so good. You're gonna love it.
It looks so good. Well, I guess I did play like a tiny bit of it with someone else, but like I have it now, so I'm gonna go through and play the way I play things. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sure.
But those are 2024 games. For honorable mentions for 2025 games, I'm really looking forward to Mechanicus 2.
Okay.
A lot of people know I really like Warhammer 40K, and I also love turn-based strategy games.
Yeah.
That goes, or dovetails rather, right into my other honorable mention of Civ Civ 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's another one I'm looking forward to. I wish they would release more information on it, because I have a lot of problems with the current Civ games.
Yeah.
Especially
the games
especially like the religious victories and cultural victories. I'm like, that those don't need to exist as a win condition. Those are so fucking boring. Like, you're telling me this bigger, more scientifically and technologically advanced society doesn't win because this other civilization could close their eyes and just wish really hard a little bit better? That's fucking silly. That doesn't exist.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I hope they fix that. I'm not saying like religion and culture and all that and those win conditions, they're not, I'm not saying they're not important.
Sure.
But they shouldn't be like a primary win condition for the game. They should be supplemental to actual win victories.
Right. It should count towards your final score.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't end the game.
Like it should give you like different buffs and enhancements, kind of like what it already does, but it shouldn't be like an actual win condition. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like, I never understood that.
Yeah. The Vatican is not a superpower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you put the Vatican finger on a nuke button, then it's not a religious victory at that point.
Yeah.
This is true.
Or maybe it is.
Yeah. Like, same thing with cultural victory, too. Like, Hollywood, like you were saying, using the Vatican, Hollywood is not a superpower.
Yeah. Yep.
Or how they reference blue jeans a lot in the Civ games, which is funny. It's like, oh, they're listening to your rock music and wearing blue jeans. Like, yeah, that's just influence. That's not
right.
That doesn't topple entire governments necessarily.
No.
Like, there's usually some sort of bigger internal conflict that causes that shit to happen.
Yeah. Honorable mentions. Kind of echoing what you guys both said. Like, I have a backlog that's insane. I'm trying to. I'm not a very smart person.
Isn't it sorry to break in, but something just occurred to me that's like painful in my heart. It's like, isn't it strange being in our late 30s and having the financial means to buy all the games we want and then none of the time to play them and truly enjoy them?
Yeah, it's a weird reversal for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like some of those games, like, well, a lot of the games that we've covered on this show are games I've put realistically thousands of hours into, but I only had, 5 to 10 games at a time.
And we've talked about multiple times, Kirk, you talked about it several times, you too, Brent, and I know that I have, like the craving a game that was coming out in our childhoods, like, the N64 games, I'm sure were like major for us, just like absolutely obsessing over a game that you can't have for at least for a while, or like you're like, man, I so want to play that.
Yeah.
I'll have to cover the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind sometime, and I'll have to talk about the time that I bought it and then realized my computer couldn't play it and had to save up for several months to buy the graphics card I needed, and the anguish that I went through. So we'll have to talk about that.
Definitely had that experience of buying a game and then having it sit there. Well, like Rogue Squadron, actually.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Bought it, and then, actually I got it for Christmas, and my dad was like, wait, you can't play it? It's like, it's a Nintendo 64 game, and it's like, and you have a Nintendo 64 now, and it's like, no, I can't.
I had that epic Halo saga where I bought the game and then spent the entire summer on the bean buggy spraying beans for farmers so I could afford an Xbox. Yeah.
Fucking insane, dude. Yeah, it's crazy what we like, how different things are now in our almost 40s.
Anyway, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to derail you there.
Don't be sorry. That's awesome. Backlog, to talk about backlog. So when we did our Games We're Thankful For podcast, I was like, I really want to play those two games. I really want to play Final Fantasy VIII. I really want to play Borderlands 2, because I haven't played either of those. So I picked up Borderlands 2 because it was on sale relatively cheap on Steam, and they had actually a really good deal. It was like the whole package with the DLC for like $5. So I picked that up. I haven't started it yet. I put that over to the side. I was like, okay, let me because I was like, I want to get through Final Fantasy VIII, but this is where my brain is broken, because I was like, I've never finished Final Fantasy VII. And I feel like I should finish 7 before I finish 8 so that I can like compare.
Benny and I are both just shaking our
You don't
heads.
gotta.
No.
Okay. So I'm like 10 hours into Final Fantasy 7. And I'm at the part where like you have to like it's like textual button prompts to like do the like army on parade thing, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. There are so many goddamn mini games in this, and it's like if they just stop that, the core gameplay loop is really satisfying. I like the materia. I like the battles. I like I like the game. But then they keep pulling me out of the game to play a different game that I don't like.
They build in several mini games that are underdeveloped in that one. 7 is a fun game that we have a lot of nostalgia for in the gamer community that probably doesn't deserve quite as much clout as it has.
It makes me want to set it aside and then play the remake now that the first 2 chapters are out on Steam.
It's not a bad idea.
Although I know
the story is part of the best aspect of that game.
Mm-hmm. The story and the characters I'm really enjoying. The broken ass translation, the janky graphics, the mediocre sound, and the horrible mini games are kind of killing it for me though.
Borderline racist translation of Barrett as a character.
Oh, there's nothing borderline about that, my friend. That is fucking racist. Also, this is the most like okay, I'm gonna go off on a rant for a second here.
Rant engage.
Uematsu is often like considered to be like one of the greatest video game composers of all time. And if you talk to just the general like gaming community, people will talk about Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy VII in specific as having like one of the best soundtracks of all time. And I'm just not finding that at all. Like especially, and this is an unfair comparison, but Chrono Trigger is a game from the same company that came out like 2 years earlier, and that's like a fucking insane I think that might be the best soundtrack of all time. Final Fantasy VII, I'm like, this is, I mean, it's fine. It's very samey. Like I'm 10 hours in, and I'm like, it all kind of sounds the same. Like it's neat, but 6 has a better soundtrack. I think 4 might even have a better soundtrack. Can
I be honest? 6 has a better story.
Yeah.
And 8 and 9 have equally good stories and better soundtracks, and they're both prettier.
I think like I might just skip to 8.
7,
I might be done with
7 sits in this nostalgic wormhole or like whirlpool of like protective people that just refuse to let anybody touch it.
Yeah.
But it's not unassailable. It's quite easy to break down problems with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I will assail it. I will assail it with vigor.
With vigor.
With vigor.
Vim and vigor. I assailed Final Fantasy VII.
But so yeah, so
skip it.
Go
back later if you really care.
It's this like I'm in that sunk cost fallacy part where I'm like I'm a quarter of the way through the game. If I can just push through this part and get back to the core gameplay loop, I'm sure I'll be fine and I'll get through it. But anyway, I have a goal to make it through at least Final Fantasy VIII and Borderlands 2 this year. I'm also, in terms of, not really backlog because I haven't picked it up yet, but it's a game I'm looking forward to that I haven't purchased yet. Metal Slug Tactics came out this year. And I love Japanese-style tactics games. It's a really cool and under-loved subgenre. I really like the Front Mission series. Our friend got me into The Breach, which is friggin' awesome. It's a really cool series. Tactics Ogre is great. And so the fact that there's a Metal Slug Japanese-style tactics game with Metal Slug music, I'm so pumped. I played the demo. It was great. I was a little upset because the demo didn't have controller support, but I'm hoping that they fix that by now. For the final release. So that came out in 2024, but I haven't played it yet. So I'm going to call that an honorable mention for my games that I'm looking forward to in 2025. Benny, what are your now we've got honorable mentions out of the way. What are the actual games that you're looking forward to in 2025? Okay.
I'm not going to do quite I don't think we have to do like a countdown to like number 2 and number 1 and everything, but
Nah, fuck you, Benny. Number 2.
I think in terms of the runner-up to my top, if I had to do that, would be Borderlands 4 is supposed to come out next year.
Okay.
And it sounds like they're making some tonal changes to the game, too. I think it's still pretty early and there's not a lot out on it, but the series has always been famous for its wit and its comedy and kind of irreverent.
They're going to take all that out.
Irreverent humor. Not all of it, but apparently they got enough feedback on the toilet humor that they're like, okay, we're going to tone it down a little bit and maybe even pitch in a little further towards like gritty, like kind of like a gritty, maybe dark comedy kind of approach to things.
So it's going to be a Gears of War sequel.
No, the Gears of War prequel is coming out next year.
Oh, God.
Oh,
why?
E-Day, yeah. I'm actually kind of stoked.
It's like
for
the
that.
emergence. It's like the original emergence of the
Yay.
Locust. I really like that series, but I haven't even played the last game that they released, so...
I mean, yeah, surprised that the guy who's over here is like, what are your favorite games? Katamari Damacy isn't like the fucking...
But yeah, I think that I've made no secret of it. In fact, we've just talked about it, that the series is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I just like the... in addition to the core gameplay loop of shoot lots in silly ways and then make explode and then get loot, on top of comedy and kind of an underlying compelling story, is one of my favorites. And I hope that they managed to preserve what made the previous games in the series work.
Yeah.
At least enough that it doesn't deviate and mess with like the core formula of it. I mean, it's not like there's a lot to... I don't think they're going to have to struggle too much to preserve the core of it because like the trillion guns or however many combinations that they're enabling for like the RNG component. I don't think that's going away.
Sure.
I mean, that's the core of the...
Yeah,
what's fun is like no one, you may have a gun that no one else has.
Yeah.
I wish there was more out about it because I wish I could conjecture more.
Yeah.
But I know that there's like a lot of reporting, but I don't know that I've seen any trailers or anything. Maybe there is one out and I just missed it or something. But it's one of the few series that I would probably be willing to risk like buying at launch.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And maybe I shouldn't be like that, but also like occasionally I am motivated by instant gratification.
Dude, I get it. I did that. I do that shit with Zelda, and it's always,
I really hope they allow, or they have at least more like cross character abilities where you're not siloed into each character having specific things. Because that's one of the things that always turned me off because it's a big game.
Yeah.
And it's big enough where I would only play as one character ever because that's all I'd ever really have enough time and patience for. I would never go back and play as a different character or a different class or whatever. So I'm hoping they don't silo you in like they have been doing into the one character with just these sets of abilities. And granted, there's a lot of cool abilities and shit, but it's like I'd rather like to experience all of it.
I'm trying to think of there's a game that I can't think of the name of right now, but I hear what you're saying, and I think I completely agree. And the game that I'm trying to think of the title, and I can't recall right now, does basically like a multi-classing kind of thing. So like you pick a character and you play as that character's class, but also you can like branch out and adopt elements of the other characters' classes. So it like for Borderlands 4, it'd be really cool if you could like play as like a berserker or like a big mean gun boy and then be a siren at the same time. Mm-hmm. That would be a cool combination. Yeah. I don't know how they'd combine those necessarily, but it would definitely be doable. Yeah. And then it would change the dynamic a bit where you're not siloed. Because I completely hear what you're saying. Sometimes you feel like, well, you could play on the harder difficulties and kind of build yourself out of the ability to progress without going out and grinding or, playing until you found a gun that maybe solved your problem, but being kind of stuck in a situation. So Brent, had you played any of them, or were you going to jump in at Borderlands 2?
I have never... I played like 5 minutes of the first Borderlands. I've now played like an hour of Borderlands 2, because when I downloaded it, I jumped in for a little bit. Mostly just to see if it was functioning correctly and stuff like that on my game or on my computer.
You can mostly skip Borderlands 1, in my opinion. You could YouTube your way through the story elements of that game. It's fun, but ultimately not that significant to the overall universe's storyline. It really kind of starts at number 2. So
I will say,
I know you've played most of them, Kirk.
Oh yeah, all of them.
Borderlands 2 has the coolest intro sequence to a video game I may have ever seen in my goddamn life. I booted that up and I was so fucking hyped to get into the game at the end of that. I was like, that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, Kirk, what's your runner up or follow up or
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to preface this. Like, these are all games we're looking forward to because we're excited about them.
Yeah.
My number one is more like...
Number 1.
I'm ready to watch this fucking house burn kind of thing. Like, I probably won't play it. I'm ready. I want this to finally end. And that is Destiny 2.
Okay.
So
I get it.
Yeah. I was waiting for that. So I love this game.
Yeah.
I have thousands, I'm not kidding, thousands of hours in this game.
Right.
Me too.
But it has hit such a wall of just horrible content. I mean, and then seasonal events that haven't changed in years that still have bugs every time it's released, even though nothing has changed. We're talking bugs so stupid and simple. Like, there's placeholder icons. Like generic placeholder icons for something in the game. It's like, how does it even get to this point? Are you just not testing anything anymore?
Yeah.
Like, they need to let this cobbled together zombie of a game die at this point.
Yeah.
You're
And it hit a recent like all-time low of only like something like, what was it, like 12 or 18,000 concurrent players.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really, really low because I think everyone's just like, especially after this new episode is what they released. It's so fucking stupid, and there's little to no content.
Yeah,
and you cobble that together with the recent seasonal events. One's Halloween related. The other one, the one that's ongoing, is Christmas related.
The Dawning,
yeah, have just been absolute complete fucking dumpster fires.
Yeah.
And I have no hope for the next episode and the next expansions that they're promising. They've released little tidbits of, we're going to do like this Armor 3.0 system. At this point, I'm just fucking done.
Yeah.
Like, you keep promising us the moon and we get like a pebble in return after waiting and waiting and waiting.
It's always a grind for nothing new.
Yes.
Yeah.
The newest episode, one of the nails in the coffin was this tonic system that they came up with. If you play Destiny, you know what I'm talking about. They got like the weapons for the season. You can't craft them, which that helps with some of the grind. That's what helped the community rallied around it, and they're happy. It's like, okay, so I may not get the role that I want, but if I get one like they're called red borders, but you can unlock patterns for the weapon after you unlock so many patterns. You can craft the weapon yourself and give it whatever perks or whatever that you want.
Okay.
They got rid of that in lieu of this stupid, dumb fucking tonic system. And even the whole process of brewing these tonics is so janky and fucking stupid.
It's
with
boring.
Visual problems with it. It's like, this seems like something one of the employees there was tinkering around with on their spare time. It didn't seem like this was something an actual development team gave a shit about.
They basically buried the mechanic for it in like an inventory item. Mm-hmm. Like like you're not even dedicating a full component of the UI to it. Like if that's your approach to game element development, then you have a problem.
Absolutely.
Like, there's a flaw in your approach.
And then one of the flaws they were making out to be a feature, because one of the biggest problems that people were bitching about before was, we have to wait a week for just a little tidbit of story to progress what's going on.
Yeah.
But now Bungie was saying, we're just gonna it's in 3 acts, and we're gonna release the entire act all at the same time for each act inside the episode. And it's like, yeah, you did that, not because it was a feature, but because you had so fucking little content. You hadn't, there was no way you were going to be able to stretch that across multiple weeks. If I can destroy an entire act in 30 minutes, you fucked up.
Right.
Holy shit. So I'm ready. I get it now. I see the light. I am ready for this fucking game to burn to the ground. I hope Sony buys out Bungie completely and migrates their entire team to their own projects. I don't want to see Marathon. I have no faith in that company anymore. Yeah. At most, I might log in at some point in time just to see how shitty it is.
Sure.
But I have. They made this new episode supposed to be like this big kind of. Or how the trailer came across, Steven, was you're like this. It's very medieval-esque, like influenced, and you're supposed to be kind of like this vampire hunter kind of mystique. And there's fucking none of it. There is none of it. It's so dumb. Like, you can't make us come out to be like these Van Helsing types, and we don't do any Van Helsing shit.
Right.
Like, I'm ready for the house to burn down, and I will warm my hands over the glow of the embers. So even before recording, on Discord, a close buddy of ours was saying, hey, like on the specific Destiny 2 Discord piece that we have, asked if any of us wanted to play, and we all said, can we play Helldivers instead?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, all of us. And then he didn't even argue, and he's probably a bigger Destiny player than any of us. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, like I'm prepared. I'm ready to put this old dog down. It needs to happen.
Put Destiny in the ship, light it on fire, and push it out to sea.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But that's respectful. I just wanted to, like, at this point, they've let it crumble so badly it deserves to get like an eviction notice on the fucking door, and the city comes and bulldozes it down. Like, you don't get a proper send-off. I want you to fail, so then also, like, the higher C-level people who keep fucking up and allowing it to fail, they fail too. I want that.
So
I want
they
them
get
to
hired by a different giant video game company and fuck that up too.
Well, see, that's what I'm hoping for. Not specifically that, but because the other companies will see just what big of a dumpster fire this has turned into, they don't get hired ever again.
Yeah.
Like Pete Parsons, I hope he's fucking ends up becoming homeless. Like, seriously.
Second episode in a row where Kirk expands his enemies list.
I hope he has to sell all of his dipshit fucking cars he wasted millions of dollars on instead of investing in your own company that is failing, that you are responsible for. Jesus. I hope no one hires you, because on your resume, Destiny 2 is going to be part of it, and they're going to be like, yeah, that didn't turn out so well for you, did it? Right. No. We're not going to hire you.
No one's going to want to work for him either after the way they treated their employees.
Well, and that's, I don't know, this is why I find the whole, because I see a lot of gloom and doom in the like games media, and I'm like, nah, it's never been better, dude. This is because what's happening is the AAA space is just, it's like movies. It's the same thing, right? Film has gotten the top end of the cinema market, the movie market has gotten so consolidated into these giant companies that are putting out movies that fail financially for them again and again. Disney, while and the same thing happening in the video game space, while at the same time the indie and sort of AA space has never been bigger and deeper, and you've never seen more creative people getting to go out and like just have their vision and people flocking to it. Like, I think we're in a space where, because we're so interconnected with the internet, with all these platforms that are available to content creators now, I think we're in a space where it's never been easier for creative people to get their vision to their audience. And I think hopefully, I'm keeping my optimism that in the next 20 years, the media landscape looks a lot more like that, and a lot less like giant companies with cyclical layoffs and all batting for the $1 billion franchise. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I'm just tired of these constant, these big companies releasing what is effectively unfinished games.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, don't release content for something unless you've properly vetted it and tested it, and make it worth our not only our time but our fucking money too.
Yeah.
Like, don't charge us for something that is completely fucking broken. That's one of the other frustrating things about Bungie is anytime there's something that is beneficial to the players, either through game mechanics or through money, they fix it within hours.
Yeah.
It is patched, it is fixed. But there are actual game-breaking things and entire pieces of equipment that are locked out and disabled, and they're just like, oh, we'll fix this in some other future
when we get to
update.
it.
Yeah. That's another, like, that screams greed so hard. I'm sorry, I don't mean to waste all of our time. I'm ready for this. I want to see the goddamn plane crash into the side of the mountain.
Nothing is fucked. The goddamn plane crashed into the side of the mountain.
Yeah. And I want to be there, just standing there. Like, after it happens, I'm just like,
Be like the Darwin Award for that guy that strapped the jet to the car that took off and crashed into the side of the mountain in Nevada. And we were all just like, yeah.
Well, what did you expect?
Yeah, because it's not as if that's the only game. And I think they keep failing to realize that. Players can go play other games.
Well, and if they took the resources and the staff that they have devoted to Destiny, broke it into like 5 teams, they could make 5 big games a year that would, at least one of them would be really fucking good.
Yeah. What's bizarre is they're reported to have at least 850 different employees at Bungie. It's like, how the hell do you keep fucking this up then with that many people?
Yeah.
How?
At a certain point, more is not better.
Yeah. There's entire games made by, what was Hello Games originally? Like 10 fucking people?
It was a small, like, they are now probably a AA studio.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were probably a single A, like they were indie, and they cranked out ostensibly the biggest game world in existence at the time.
Yeah.
And then, like, Vampire Survivors, wasn't that originally one person?
It is. Yeah, I think it's still just one guy.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of releasing DLC that's awesome.
Fuck yeah,
dude. Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors is fucking great. It's the best DLC I've gotten in a long time. It like
triples the size of the game.
There's so much more
Really?
content.
I've not played it yet.
Oh my god. And
fuck. And so many just what, like 40 more fucking characters?
It's nuts. And as somebody who loves Castlevania, I was like, because I mean, it's obvious that Castlevania was always the influence for Vampire Survivors. I mean, there's obviously a Simon, there's obviously a Trevor, there's like that. They already had that, and so it's really funny to have like fake Simon and real Simon in the same game. Like, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that's fun
because like the Castlevania and Konami or whoever, they're like high-fiving, like, yeah, this game rocks. Good job, guys.
Yeah,
you can use our assets if you want to. I don't fucking care.
Well, and I like too that they made a Contra expansion for it too. I haven't played that yet.
I did.
But...
Dude, the moment those come out for that game, I get all the achievements. I have 100% that fucking game. I've unlocked all of the goddamn characters.
That's nuts.
That game is so fun, though.
It is. It's a great game. Well, and I think that
talk about a satisfying gameplay loop.
Dovetails.
Didn't mean to get too inside baseball.
A little inside baseball for you guys. I like that we've basically created our own memes in this fucking podcast, but that does like transition nicely to my picks, because I have 2 that I want to talk about, and then Benny, is cool if I do those, and then we'll get to your last one.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. So
no.
Okay.
But Dad.
Yeah.
So both of my picks are going to be really small.
Number 2.
There's a game coming out called Baby Steps, and it's made by basically 2 guys. Bennett Foddy, who made VVVVVV, however many V's, and Quap. Have either of you guys played Quap?
And Getting Over It, right?
Yes.
And Getting Over It.
Yeah,
I recognize that name.
Oh.
I recognize that name.
Yeah,
Okay, I've not played it, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah. So VVVVV is the
that,
game with the gravity reversal mechanic. It's really cool.
Yeah.
QWOP is the incredibly frustrating game where you're trying to get up the mountain with there's like, and it's like all your limbs are like.
Yes, I played that. Like you can even control like a horse, but like AWSD controls like each one of the separate fucking limbs.
Ridiculous.
Oh my god, it's insane.
And then there's another guy, Gabe Cazillo, who did Ape Out, which Ape Out is one of my
Super dope.
Yeah, have you played Ape Out? Oh my god, I love Ape Out. Okay, so Ape Out, Benny, have you played?
I am not.
Okay, you might dig it. I don't know. It's a hyper violent top down game about being a gorilla and escaping from a cage. But the thing is,
I don't like violence in my video games.
Shut up.
Was this approved by the church? Yeah. But it creates its own soundtrack. It has a dynamic like bebop jazz soundtrack that is created by your play. So
is it a procedurally generated soundtrack?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And it's really good. As somebody who loves weird jazz music and somebody who loves a bit of the old hyperviolence and also 2D games, Ape Out's great. But so this is all just build up. Gabe Cazillo and Bennett Foddy are making a game together that's going to be called Baby Steps. And it's a walking simulator, but it's a walking simulator a la QWOP. So it's going to be your character who is like a failed, like failure to launch, like late 30s guy who like basically lives in his parents' basement is transported to like the wilderness. And you have to try, but like he can't really walk. So you have to like control all his like limbs separately and he keeps falling down in the mud over and over again. It looks incredibly frustrating. It looks really bizarre. And I love both those creators. I'm so here for it. Like it's going to be all of their stuff up to this point has been, I should mention also Gabe Cazillo did UFO 50, which a lot of people have as like one of their top indie games of the year. I haven't played it yet, so I can't speak to it. But it does look like a cool concept. But yeah, Baby Steps, I'm really excited for. It's going to be exactly my kind of game, I think. Bizarre and off the wall.
Number 1.
But the other one that I'm really, really excited for is, and it's funny because I mentioned Metal Slug Tactics, came out earlier this year. That's an SNK game. Like SNK is actually, involved in the development of it. I think with .emu, I think.
Pause real quick.
Yeah.
Motherfucking Ape Out is only $3 on Steam right now.
Yes, go get Ape Out.
Yeah. 80% off. Buy that shit.
Yeah, it's well worth it. And also, I don't know that I mentioned it, but Ape Out has kind of a like a Rainbow Six-y kind of vibe to it because you have to like plan your way through. There's guards who are trying to shoot you. And so you have to like figure out your way through these environments. It also has a really cool like primary color art style. Mm-hmm. It's really neat.
Like the weird, well, not high contrast, but definitely like your ape is usually like bright orange or bright yellow. Yep. Then even when you like take a scientist or a guard hostage, the blood is like the same. It's very stylistic of the blood splatters and whatnot, or even like walking through blood and the footprints. It's all like usually a solid color, but it matches with its style.
It doesn't pull any punches. Watch a video of it. If it interests you in the video, you'll love the game because it is exactly what it says on
very satisfying game loop.
I'm watching like the store page video on Steam right now because if you're going to talk about how great it is, I'm going to look at it. This looks charming as hell.
It's
it looks
fun.
like addictive in terms of like gameplay.
Yeah, and it's not like there's a very low commitment, kind of like a Vampire Survivors kind of thing.
Yep.
Like you can play for a little bit and stop and walk away, and it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But $3, like, come on.
Yeah, for $3, get it.
I'm pretty sure your beer costs more than $3. So
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so. It's a great one. But yeah, so Baby Steps, looking forward to that. And then there's another game coming out that also has like Metal Slug Tactics, also has a Metal Slug connection. There's a game called Blackfinger Jet that's coming out, and it's so I won't expect that people who listen to this podcast have my brain disease and know what has happened to SNK.
Wow, calling autism a brain disease? That's fucking low, dude. Wow. I don't know. I may have to talk to your wife about that shit. I don't know if we can be... Jesus. How fucking mean is that, dude?
I know, right?
I'm personally offended.
But so SNK got bought by a Saudi prince, and they're slow, and that's the company that made Metal Slug. Their slow descent into madness has been really sad to watch as somebody who loves a lot of their games and a lot of their franchises. But what has happened recently is that a lot of the original staff from Nazca, the company that worked with, that was the developer for the first 2 Metal Slug games,
Haunt the Queen,
they have reunited and they're making a spiritual... heavy air quotes spiritual successor to Metal Slug. It's just fucking Metal Slug. It's 16x9 Metal Slug. It's called Blackfinger Jet. It's supposed to come out sometime soon. They keep pushing back the release date. It looks great. It's got the same goofy fucking jazz soundtrack. It's got the same like guys screaming at the top of their lungs when you shoot them and just like bullet helly style explosions everywhere. There's been some games influenced by Metal Slug that have come out. I mean, obviously, like I think Alien Hominid, a lot of people know about. But like, there's been more Metal Sluggy kind of games. But just the idea that the original staff is coming back together to make a new game. Blackfinger Jet, I'm super excited about it. And that's supposed to be a 2025 release. And then I'll say Hollow Knight Silk Song, but that won't come out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually happy you brought that up because that was originally on my list, but it's like fucking...
We won't see it.
We won't
it's
see
not.
it.
It's not. We can just do that every year. Be like, and then Hollow Knight Silk Song, but it won't come out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you can hope.
Yeah. Benny, what about you, man?
Number 1.
I guess I'll round it out with actually a DLC or like an expansion. I don't think it's going to be an entirely new game.
Yeah.
But and again, AAA slut. Actually, I wanted to talk about that because I was kind of thinking about it as you were ranting about that. Fairly so.
Yeah.
About the demise that games go through and that studios go through at when some corporate stooge holds the reins.
Yeah.
And especially death by committee in a lot of those cases. I am positive. In fact, I'm sure that Monday morning meetings have something to do with the death of Destiny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me sad because the manpower available behind those enables the creation of just colossal games. And that's all I want to mention is that I hope that, that like the AA studios and the Hello Games of the world and some of these companies that are producing games because they love them and that have enough gravity to attract enough people to make truly big games.
Yeah.
Still persist because I do think that culture of game like manufacture, and I kind of use that term intentionally instead of like development because some of these studios just crank them out. In fact, I felt kind of conflicted about listing Assassin's Creed because they kind of crank those out on a fucking conveyor belt at a certain level.
Yeah.
As much as I like them, I have ethical problems with how they're made.
Sure.
But I just wanted to kind of mention that I am conflicted about that because I think that there's a lot to be said for the literal power behind that.
Yeah.
Behind a studio that big.
Absolutely. Kirk, you were going to say something, I think.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, Ubisoft has a big problem with trying to crank shit out when they really try to cash in as quickly as possible, but also stumble when it comes to making meaningful content. That's why, like Assassin's Creed, what is it? Unity is the one that we hate.
Unity sucks.
Yeah, that was one. That was a dumpster fire. But then they were smart. They let it go. They didn't do Assassin's Creed for a number of years, and they came out with Odyssey and Origins.
Syndicate came after Unity, but Syndicate was good.
Yeah. The one,
and then the open world, the big open world ones with Origins, and then Odyssey, and then Valhalla, are like a kind of like a triumvirate that they kind of like a resurgence.
I'm really happy they made Black Flag too. Like I never beat Black Flag because I was too busy just sailing my fucking ship around and blowing shit up all the time. Like that was such a satisfying game loop. Even though I wasn't quote unquote winning the game, I would log in just so I could sail my ship and sing sea shanties and fucking fire cannons at other things. Like I didn't care.
I think Black Flag is one of the best of the series. Black Flag and Odyssey. Mm-hmm. The only problem is like there is an underlying story, so like jumping in the middle, you miss some of the overarching like present. You know, so like Assassin's Creed, like the shtick is that you're playing as like through the life of a genetic ancestor in the past, but from present day, dealing with some sort of like impending cataclysm. Have you played them?
Yeah,
okay. Well, and for the listener, but if you don't play all of them, then you're missing like elements of how that overarching storyline has developed. Although it's kind of cosmetic as like an excuse to bridge the gap, because otherwise it's all about the historical presentation.
I like Origins because you can pet the kitties. Yeah, I stop and pet every fucking one of them if I see one. It's just like in Destiny. Like if you're going through that area and you don't pet the dog, you're a piece of shit. Fuck you.
You're a monster.
Yeah, you're a monster.
But yeah, I
pet the dog.
I do think that they touched on some really positive, like they really did make some really good games at a couple of intervals. I'm actually playing through
the Call of Duty series. Like the first 4 are genuinely good games.
And even right now, I have a little bit of hope for Shadows, like, the one that's set in Japan. We'll see if it's any good or not. Yeah. I'm playing through Valhalla right now, and I'm kind of underwhelmed. But the one right before that, which is Odyssey, is actually one of my favorites of the series, besides Black Flag.
I think Shadow's getting on a lot of flack, not because of the racial thing, but people have been asking for a samurai-related one since that game came out.
Yeah.
They really have. Like, it's been nonstop, so it's held to a much higher standard and regard. I think people are looking for
and they have some
die twice kind of vibe, and
Shadows Die Twice. The second. Well, that's like a From Software game, a totally different gameplay loop.
I just think they want that style.
Well, so I have another game on my wish list that I will pick up when it goes on a deep enough sale, which is Ghosts of Tsushima.
That looks so
good. We're so
from
cheap.
My understanding is. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, fuck it when it comes out. We're gonna wait until it's 50% off.
Dude, no, I don't buy games for more than $20.
Yeah. But that game looks like it's basically Assassin's Creed in Japan. Yeah. And so there already is an archetype for it that they're gonna have to compete against. And so I hope that also gives them a reason to make a good game. But anyway, I'm sorry, I've really wandered far afield from actually listing the one I'm talking about.
Oh no, that's okay. I was just about to say, or they could play Tenchu on PS1.
Did we accidentally dovetail into a different game? Oh, God. Thing?
We sort of did. Yeah. I wanted to give... we're breaking ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, I did use Inside Baseball in a meeting the other day, and Benny bursted out laughing at work. We were sitting in a boardroom, and I said Inside Baseball. Benny started laughing. Nobody else understood what the fuck we were talking about, so they were looking at us like we were crazy.
Just a little Inside Baseball.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I like how that we all have the tolerance for the open format that we have, because I just wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Dude, but, hell yeah.
It's almost like we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Oh, there's a mic and speakers. The ghost monkeys who live in my hair will be heard. That's a Patton Oswalt bit. Hey, I haven't just totally lost it.
No, I thought you just pulled something whole cloth out of your brain that was incredibly good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry that wasn't the case.
No. Patton Oswalt sat in a coffee shop for hours. I'm sure to think of that.
Do you feel good that I thought that you just came up with that?
I do, actually. Yeah, no, I was telling Aaron the other night, it's great how people think I'm witty and clever, and actually I just have a lot of stand-up memorized.
I mean, it's not worth doing.
Right.
I got nothing. I'm just a bad person, so that's where
that's fair enough. You are a bad person.
Yeah. We all have to have our thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's let's put a little, let's put a fly in the ointment here. Okay. I'm bald. Where do you think the monkeys are living?
The beard.
Beard. Yeah.
Beard monkeys.
Beard monkeys.
Yes, okay.
Beard monkey, get up, get coffee.
Beard monkey, go to job. Beard monkey, have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Oh, Jonathan Colton, I love you.
Yes.
Okay.
You say no thank you for the soda, cuz
soda make you fat.
Anyway, you
busy with the telephone, no time for chat. Code monkey have long walk back to cubicle. He sit down, pretend to work. Code monkey not thinking so straight. Code monkey not feeling so great.
Okay, we gotta get back to the show.
Monkey like Fritos.
Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew.
I like the word.
Monkey, like, very simple man.
Let's get back to it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't take anything to pull me back in.
I wanted to join in, but you guys are doing so good. I'm like, I want to jump in with the chorus, but then you stop right before the chorus.
Sorry.
I'm like, you motherfucker!
Sorry.
People are gonna think I'm a freak because I don't know the song you're singing.
Everybody
All of our
knows
fans
Kirk.
gonna be upset. They're gonna be like, "Where's Kirk? Why isn't he harmonizing with this shit?"
Kirk,
That's how this works, right? Oh no,
It's one of your favorite web series intro songs. I know you know the song, Kirk.
It's such a good song. It's not as good as I Crush Everything, but that's because I Crush Everything is one of the few Jonathan Colton songs that actually feels heartfelt.
Did Jonathan Colton do I Feel Fantastic, or is that someone else? Is that him?
Jonathan
Okay,
Colton.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I take my feel better pills, or whatever the fuck that is, I like my steak tastes better pills.
Yes.
As Benny has said in previous episodes, are you getting exactly what kind of white guys we all are?
We were in college in the 2000s.
Yeah. There's a certain flavor to the type of nerd that we are.
Yes.
And it tastes like cum. I mean, what?
Yeah. It was a wild
Kirk
night.
just proved it.
Yeah.
All right. Where were we?
I was gonna say it tastes like Surge, but that was before.
No, Vault was college.
Vault was okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Surge
used to-
was already gone by the time we got into college.
Yeah,
They
we-
brought it back.
Yeah, that
my-
was 90s.
My
Forgot
buddy
about that.
Cody and I used to go down to the Hy-Vee gas station, and they had the cherry syrup pump.
Yeah.
And we'd fill it like the cup 3/4 the way up with Vault, and then the top quarter with cherry syrup, and shake it up. And I'll repeat what Kirk said earlier. I don't know how I don't have diabetes.
Karma?
Yeah.
No, it's
That's
definitely
why
not
his
karma.
blood is so good on pancakes.
Oh, now I'm trying to remember because I thought of Surge. I'm sorry. I know I'm potentially dovetailing off of the.
God damn it.
Yeah. No. Did you guys ever drink Mountain Dew and SoCo with me? That was like our fucking jam because it tasted like
Yes.
candy.
I remember this.
Again, how do we not have diabetes?
Yeah.
Because it tasted like candy, but SoCo and Mountain Dew.
That just sounds like, that tastes like sadness in my memories.
No,
My buddy had a...
it doesn't.
I had a crush on a girl who pretty much only drank Mountain Dew and SoCo in college.
She's dead now. You don't have to worry about it.
Was that a Midwest thing?
How am I not dead
That's
after
a good
college?
question. I don't.
Do we know anybody else like from the coast that ever drank SoCo?
Do I know anybody from the coast? Actually, well, my wife, but yeah. So never mind.
I don't know. Well, it's one of those things like
shouldn't have taken that long to think of that.
Well, later on we can just ask her, hey, when you think of poison, what do you think of? And if she says Mountain Dew and SoCo, then we'll know that they didn't drink that out there.
oh, that fucking Dr. Pepper, cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper. That was our time.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
That also tastes good with SoCo. But SoCo kind of tastes like Dr. Pepper, so that...
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Benny, you must end this.
yeah.
Yes, I'll put us out of our misery. And the
Otherwise,
rest
I'm going
of
to keep
you
throwing
as
member
well.
berries at everybody.
Okay. So I've made no secret of being a fan of the From Software games.
Yes.
And
you
in
don't
this,
like yourself very much, we know.
yeah, I guess I like to self-flagellate through digital. We're going to have to find a way to fit in tiny pixelated boobies here. I think I just did. But
I flagellate myself to tiny pixelated boobies all the time.
I'm talking about Elden Ring Night Rain. That's the one that's an expansion. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I love Elden Ring. It's one of my top 5 games of all time. It's
kind of fuck them for their DLC not being on sale. right now, and the last sale wasn't on sale, so I'm kind of grumpy about that. But please go on.
And it's been out for more than 6 months now. Like
Japanese studios don't.
They could sell it. They could put it on sale, and it really should be discounted because it's. Well, I don't know. It got a lot of accolades this year for being incredibly good, and it is. The Shadow of the Erd Tree is what Kirk's talking about. The expansion from this year. It's incredibly good. It was in the running for Game of the Year. Yeah. And as an expansion, getting that as a nomination is pretty impressive. It is colossal. It is enormous. It's basically, I would say it's 3/4 of the size of the original game. Yeah. Again. Maybe not that. I mean, the original game is real big, but it's like half of the game in terms of map. It's an appropriate escalation in difficulty.
Oh God.
And I do mean appropriate. Like if you approach it after you're at the commensurate level in the core game, then you're going to be fine going into it, and then face a good escalation of challenge.
So like my level 243 character shouldn't have a problem or whatever crazy shit I have.
You won't. There's a new difficulty mechanic. It's like kind of an invisible multiplier or modifier that lies under the expansion content. So like if you try to go too far too fast, you will get stomped and you will just be a greasy spot because there are seeds of the tree. There's like a new tree in the expansion, and you have to apply them to your character, and it applies an invisible multiplier or like modifier to your power. If you don't apply those, you will get squished no matter your core or like your base level.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that under the hood there's some sort of just like basic like multiplier or additional math. They mathed it to make it math different.
They mathed it harder.
But the expansion coming out next year, so that was this year. The expansion coming out next year, or I'm still unclear if it's going to be like a brand new game or if it's just going to be another expansion, but It's called Night Rain. It expands on the existing lore of the world. But I'm very excited for the gameplay that they've kind of unveiled. They've unveiled a lot of gameplay in the trailers that they released, which kind of shows a lot of, I think, some improvements that were probably due. So one thing that Elden Ring did over all the other From Software games was added traversal mechanics that didn't exist. Okay. So like you were pretty much in all of the like Demon Souls and the Dark Souls games and all these others, you're more or less plastered to the ground the entire time. Yeah. You're kind of going through linear paths or...
So it'll be like you are after you have a second one of those beers.
Exactly. I'll be plastic. Well, I won't even be traversing anything. I'll just be blobbing my way. I'll be Caterpillar, scrunching myself and scooting along. In this, it looks like they're expanding the traversal. So Elden Ring added a jump, and they added some.
I'm sorry. I know. Like the Souls-like games traditionally don't, but it is still just so funny to me that it's like, and in the 2020s, they added a jump.
I know, right? Yeah. And at the time, that was always and there were like pseudo jump mechanics, but it was never about using the jump really.
Sure.
There was falling damage and there were falling attacks that you could do, but you basically were leveraging your ability to walk in a straight line to a place where you could sort of pseudo jump roll over a short gap or just fall off a ledge and then land on an enemy and smack him in the head.
Yeah.
It worked, but it was ultimately more about your combat prowess. Like how could you read the rhythms that the enemy was going to go through as they attacked, their patterns. Now you have a third dimension really to utilize in your approach. And they're expanding that. They're adding like ledge up abilities, and it seems like they're adding a more extensive co-op mechanic as well. And that's something that historically the From Software games multiplayer has mostly been about PvP. It's always been adversarial combat, and mostly like there's been some elements of cooperative gameplay where it was like, okay, I can summon a friend to help me with a boss fight or something like that. But it seems like they're more extensively bringing like continuous co-op gameplay into the mix. That was something that I wondered if you'd seen or knew about.
What are you talking about? I was here the whole time.
you were in a fugue state. You were drooling for a while. It was really weird. So Night Rain is supposedly adding much greater traversal mechanics. It seems like they're doing like some ledge up stuff and adding just better navigation of the world, but also greatly expanded abilities. And it seems like co-op stuff. And that sounds like a lot of fun because, as you know, most of the co-op in the game so far has been temporary, like, come help me with this boss, but ultimately it's either PvP or just temporary summoned and then depart. And most of the gameplay is solo. But it seems like maybe they're expanding that, and I was wondering if you liked the idea of that, because it sounds fun to me. Because I know you've played Elden Ring. I think it'd be fun to run around the lands between with you on my steed, hair blowing in the wind.
Yeah, because I remember
would like to run around with you as my steed.
Yeah, because I remember
Beard monkey
Benny
singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Viking acid trip over here.
Benny asked multiple times. He's like, "Hey, if you're having problems with this boss, like, I'll just let me know. I'll log in and help you." But I kind of took that as a challenge. I'm like, "Oh, because you don't think I can do it?"
I didn't get to do it very much. It sounded fun more than like you couldn't do it. You're usually a better gamer than I am, so I had no doubt that you'd be able to beat everything. But it just sounded fun.
Thank you. I will not return the compliment.
I'm by far for our listeners, I'm by far the worst of the three of us. But
no,
that's okay.
I think we all have our niches.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's probably the one that I'm looking forward to the most, pending more content that they release and that they.
Yeah.
I'm still a little unclear about everything that they're doing with it, but like I said before, it's the core game exists as my top 5. Absolute, like I have no doubt that I can say that.
Yeah.
About the game. It's just at the time that it was released, and probably for the last year, at least through the last DLC, it was the ultimate iteration of like a From Software game.
Yeah, I feel from my friends who do play those games heavily, I feel like that with some stumbles, they've pretty much iterated consistently towards a better and better product as they've come along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, on my Steam recap, I'm pretty sure Elden Ring was my number 2 game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I just wanted to say, so like I mentioned at the onset, this is, a year of doing this, and I had a couple people that I wanted to thank. First off, I wanted to thank these two assholes that I'm here with, my co-hosts. I love you guys. I love doing this with you. This has been so much fun. Looking forward to another year, and then no more after that. 2026, I'm kicking you out. I never want to see your stupid faces again. But
Finally.
but for one more year at least, we'll do it.
I won't even look at my own face. Breaking all the mirrors in my house at the end of 2025.
Well, and we've got these isolation, a little inside baseball for you. So we. Kurt got us these like sound isolating booth things, and so now we just look at each other, just our eyes, and so yeah, it's way more ominous now, which I like. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I wanted to thank my wife and my kids for being so supportive of this. I know it takes away from family time and other stuff, but it's been really, really fun, and they've been incredibly supportive and actually devoted listeners, which is probably bad for my children, but whatever. I wanted to thank all of our subscribers on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, particularly Crow Cage. I love that you're getting into a rhythm of responding to just about everything that we put out. I love that. I love talking at you. Keep that up. That's really neat. Lets me know that I'm not just shouting into the void.
Is that the fan that insinuated I gave them gonorrhea and kept the joke alive? Because if it is,
yeah,
thank you for
so.
that. That was
hilarious.
hilarious.
For sure.
I was like, hell yeah, they get it.
Like helping to like synthesize ideas and like having interactive thoughts with the format.
Yeah, hell cool. Yeah. It's just nice. Yeah, it's just nice to know that somebody's listening. To our friends that do listen all the time, I'll shout you out here and then I'll cut it out if you say you don't want me to mention your name. But obviously Sean, you guys know, he's been a big booster. JJ as well, our friend Beth, I know listens pretty religiously. That's great. It's really nice to have, to have that support. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have anybody you want to shout out beyond that.
Was the band Tread Lightly?
Yeah.
Shout out to them. That very cool of them.
I dig your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
You already mentioned a lot of our friends, which is pretty much what I was gonna do. But yeah, just thank you for listening in general. If we didn't name you, it's not as if we don't give a shit. I take that back. Fuck you. No, we know your time is valuable, and we're happy that you took time to listen to us when you don't have to. So I appreciate anyone who listens. The 2,000 some listens, although I'm probably 1,000 of that. I just have a computer that just sits on repeat. No, I'm just kidding.
Kirk's just got a Raspberry Pi cluster, watching
And knowing the big IT nerd that I am, you guys are probably he might. That sounds like something in the
impossible.
Yes.
That sounds like something he might do.
Benny.
Yeah. I'd like to thank my wife Abby for being a big supporter of mine and in helping to keep me engaged with trying to stay on top of scheduling and making sure that we're.
Yes, thank you. We know he wouldn't be here without you, so thank you.
And I want to thank, we have a lot of overlap in our friend group, almost 100%. So all the same friends, I love you all too. And I want to thank our listeners just for, especially in the beginning here, contributing to an algorithm that's kind of predatory or extremely predatory to new startup IP. So just being there, adding some numbers. And I've got a couple of family members that have been, and I won't shout them out because I don't know that I'll remember to reach out and get their permission to use names, but there's a couple of guys that have tuned in a few times and continue to on occasion, and that helps.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. I just feel very fortunate that people care about what we're talking about in my dirty ass basement, and that is a euphemism, by the way. But yeah, I
talk about screaming into the void.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a great year, and I look forward to more.
I'll thank the wife too, just because everyone else did. Yeah. So, but I know even if she's listening, yes, honey, I got your text. No onions. I know. Yeah.
All right. Well, we love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, go ahead and check us out on Amazon, Apple Music, probably Spotify, YouTube, Discord. Not Facebook anymore because I got rid of that because fuck Facebook. I don't even have an account anymore. No one had ever commented on that ever, even once, except for the people that are sitting in this room. So there really wasn't much point in that. But we still have a Discord. Link is in the description. And thank you. I hope you all have a very, very happy new year. And with that,
if you stop listening, we will know and we will find you.
I do keep very close eye on the view counts.
Yeah, it comes with enough poles where you can stand and use these things. So
Got enough poles.
Yes, a lot of poles.